Australia is known for its tough stance on asylum seekers. Anyone who arrives by boat is sent to detention centers on island nations and offered a new life in the Southeast Asian nation of Cambodia. The government says the country provides a wealth of opportunity, but critics point to human rights abuses, corruption, and poverty. I'm Steve Chow. On this episode of 101 East, we investigate what Australia is offering the world's most desperate people.
Anxious and confused. Mohammed Rashid is one of millions of refugees caught up in the wave of migration sweeping the globe. Most have the bright lights and robust economies of Europe, the US, or Australia in their sights. But the country that has granted Rashid refuge has people begging on streets choked with tuk-tuks and sputtering motorbikes. This is Cambodia, Rashid's new home. But for how long? In a year-long investigation, we examine Australia's controversial resettlement deal with one of the world's poorest countries. The numbers of people seeking asylum today is unprecedented. 1 out of every 122 people has fled their home, according to the United Nations High Commission for Refugees. While some nations are taking in hundreds of thousands of refugees, others, like Australia, are going to great lengths to dissuade people from seeking asylum, with a military-led campaign to stop asylum seekers reaching its shores by boat.
The message is simple. If you come to Australia illegally by boat, there is no way you will ever make Australia home.
In 2012, Australia began sending all asylum seekers who arrive by boat to its poverty-stricken neighbours, Nauru and Papua New Guinea. There they are held in Australian-run detention centres. Meanwhile, boats carrying asylum seekers to Australia are controversially turned away by a Border Patrol force.
The only thing that really counts is, have we stopped the boats? And the answer is a resounding yes.
More than 800 refugees have been processed on Nauru, but they're not allowed to remain on the Pacific island nation. So Australia went looking for a third country to send them to, and found a willing partner in the Southeast Asian nation of Cambodia. The deal, about $30 million in aid money, plus another $12 million for resettlement costs for an unspecified number of refugees. Human rights groups like Amnesty International slammed the agreement, calling it a new low in Australia's deplorable and inhumane treatment of asylum seekers.
Refugees in Nauru face a tough choice: stay on the impoverished Micronesian island on a temporary visa, or take their chances here in Cambodia, a country that struggles to provide basic services for its own people.
One out of every 5 Cambodians live below the poverty line. But the Australian government's pitch to refugees describes a very different Cambodia.
I'm Peter Dutton, Australian Minister for Immigration and Border Protection. Cambodia provides a wealth of opportunity for new settlers.
I show it to Cambodian activist Muan Tula.
It is a fast-paced and vibrant country with a stable economy and varied employment opportunities.
It's completely lying propaganda. It's not reality in Cambodia. Millions of Cambodian people are suffering from the system at the moment. So how come you lie to people about employment opportunity, good opportunity and so on? when I go somewhere, even I go
Tulla says the aid money Australia is giving to Cambodia will not help Cambodians. The country is ranked in the top 20 of the world's most corrupt nations.
Cambodians receive millions of dollars from the development partner, but we don't see where those money had been spent unaccountably and or transparently. So for me personally, I feel like Australian is bribing Cambodian to accept those people.
What refugees go through.
But the Cambodian government says it hasn't been given a blank cheque and that a refugee centre will be built with part of the money.
I understand that they do build, that it's a center, refugee center. It's controlled by Australian embassy over here.
So the Australian embassy will implement
They see
programs
what
with that money.
Because they don't give us a blank check. Okay, we do have a unit anti-corruption, no matter with aid, money or something else, we do have that.
June 2015, almost a year since Australia signed the resettlement deal with Cambodia. Authorities have given scant information about its progress. But finally, the first refugees are arriving. Only 4 have agreed to come.
It's been a nightmare. Basically, there's been no information. The whole thing's been done in complete secrecy. There's no transparency.
This is the only glimpse we'll get of the 3 Iranians and Burmese man sent here. Before they're rushed away in this white van, the media again kept in the dark.
We are extremely pleased that they appear to be happy to be here. And they were looking out the windows and commenting on the cars that were going past them and looking at the various little businesses on the street and so on, and getting, they were told they were coming to an impoverished, disadvantaged country.
Joe Lowry is the International Organisation for Migration spokesman. The IOM has been awarded an Australian government contract to help resettle the refugees in their first year in Cambodia. He admits the controversy over the deal made his migrant organisation hesitant to get involved.
This is a new situation. It was something that we talked about and discussed long and hard inside the organisation as to whether we should be involved in this or not. And we came down to the difficult but the honest decision that this was the best that we could do for these vulnerable migrants. We've pushed very hard for the highest possible level of services to these people, and to try and be as pro-migrant as we can be, as we need to be, to retain our credibility.
Despite the organisation's reservations, Lowry believes the refugees can make a life here.
From the very little I've seen of them, they seem like very determined people who want to succeed. I have no qualms in saying that they're going to do their best to try and make a go of things here.
For now, the IOM's focus is on supporting Cambodia's newest refugees, and that includes their accommodation.
This villa in the south of Phnom Penh is where the 4 refugees are being housed. Security is tight and we've been prevented from going in and speaking with them.
Despite repeated requests over the next few months, we were unable to speak to the newly arrived refugees. It would be a while before I could return to find out how they are settling into their new home. Nine months later, and I'm back in Phnom Penh. I've been monitoring the progress of the refugees, and I've come to see how they're faring.
I've been in touch with the refugees since their arrival, and now one of them has finally agreed to tell his story.
"26-year-old Mohammed Rashid is the 5th refugee who came here in the Australian program. He's been on the run all of his adult life. Rashid is stateless, a member of Myanmar's heavily discriminated Rohingya minority. He spent most of the last decade living the precarious life of an undocumented migrant in Malaysia. The youngest of 8, he misses his family and says he only made the journey to Australia so that he could one day see them again.
I thought by going to Australia I could find a pleasant life. The people who reached Australia stayed there, and after a few years they could go back to see their parents. Whether you're a refugee or any human being, whether Muslim or non-Muslim, parents always miss their children. I also miss my parents, but I try to cope. I have no one to cry to.
Rashid travelled by boat to Australia from Indonesia. He got as far as Christmas Island, 1,500 kilometres from the Australian mainland. But his dream of starting a new life ended when he was sent to Nauru, where he spent 2 years in detention.
When I was there in Nauru, I couldn't sleep or eat. They gave me enough food, but I wouldn't eat because I was depressed after travelling across the sea, hoping to have a better life. I couldn't endure the place where I was kept. My mind couldn't function and I got sick. I still feel the pain. Sometimes my breathing would become loud. I couldn't bear it. I would have to bow my body to release the pain. The sickness came upon me all of a sudden. I saw a doctor, but the medicine they gave me didn't make me feel any better. I was mentally unstable. I don't remember what I was saying and doing there.
So this is a document that you signed saying that you were resettled in Cambodia?
Yeah.
Rashid's package includes $8,000 in cash staggered over a year. Then there's an extra $9,000 in support delivered by the IOM for accommodation, set-up costs for a business and other expenses.
And why did you decide to sign this?
I don't know. When can I told Australian immigration, I go Cambodia. They told me sign.
You didn't
I don't ask. I don't ask anything.
You just wanted to leave Nauru?
Yeah, I have sick before. I have go any time in hospital. They don't want. They give tablet. I not safe. After I thinking, okay, I go anywhere.
In my mind, there was just one thing: to go. Nothing else, just to go. When I came here, I received medical treatment, and then I felt a little bit better. Then I came to see the situation. I didn't know anything about Cambodia. I was thinking to myself, where am I now? Why did I come here?
Rashid's only been here a few months. He's dreading what life will be like when the IOM stops supporting him at the end of the year. Mohammed Yusuf is another Rohingya refugee, but came to Cambodia 8 years ago by his own means. He's struggling to support his family and doesn't give Rashid much hope for the future.
Provide good enough. Nija Solinavari. Halabina to go be a shadi gori with Tokan. To Nijaragua Zindiasi, to Halabina go over, to Zindigan on the lower to Kesubavon.
I go and Halat on the logo.
Aragan Sasana have asked over Zindigiza. I asked over Zindigi, I'm going to ride in the Sayra and eat. Halabin are lost, so then I anywhere Halabina or the other for Halkan of Arvo or Halkan video or Halkan of
There are about 70 officially registered refugees in Cambodia. Not only is life hard for them, but Cambodia has been criticised in the past for sending asylum seekers back to the countries they were fleeing from. When I spoke to the IOM last June, it said it took the contract to resettle refugees from Australian detention centres on the condition that all refugees, including those already here in Cambodia, will receive the same benefits.
We asked for assurances that any refugee coming in will be allowed to work anywhere, work and live anywhere in the country. There will be funding provided for a process of resettlement all the way up to eventual citizenship, that family reunification would be possible, and crucially that all refugees in the country would be entitled to the same benefits and services as any coming in from Nauru.
And is there a time frame for that, or was there a time frame given?
No, there wasn't any time frame given. There were assurances given.
Yusuf was surprised to learn that the Cambodian government gave these assurances. He says he's seen no improvements in the past year.
No driving license, no work permit. The only card they gave me is what they call a refugee card. That's the only support we get in Cambodia. With this, we can't even buy a SIM card. If we can't even buy a SIM card, what's the value of it? I also went to immigration. They said, go explain your situation to the UNHCR and IOM. It is their responsibility. Our job is to listen. Go explain to them. We will not help you. We will not give you money. When you come here to immigration, we will just listen.
Yusuf said he went to the IOM and the UNHCR in January to ask for financial support, but was told he isn't entitled to any.
I see that other refugees don't get any support. There is no help for refugees in this country like in other places. They just accept refugees without supporting them. If they ask for help, no one will listen. If people hear, they don't understand.
The IOM says it has offered some form of assistance to other refugees in Cambodia.
There are 31 refugees in Cambodia who are being offered help by IOM. 48% of them have taken up some assistance from IOM, whether it's dental care, the ability to open a bank account, a grant to help them open a business. So it's happening there. People are getting assistance via IOM, and their lives are being gradually improved. Not everyone, maybe not as fast as everyone would like, but it takes time.
On its part, the Cambodian government says it can't support everyone.
Well, we have a limitation to help them. Because such program, they don't happen to Cambodia. We don't have like social services like the other modern government. We don't have that much money to help them. Refugee status, it doesn't mean they want to settle in Cambodia. I mean, for good, just temporarily looking for a third country to move. That's why that we don't go that much and integrate those people at vocational training or sharing how to make a living in Cambodia.
So how have the other new refugees under the Australian deal adjusted to living here? It took just 4 months for the first to leave, a Rohingyan man who returned to Myanmar. A few months later, an Iranian couple also went home. Now only 2 refugees remain, an Iranian and Rashid.
They go, husband and wife, one family, 2 persons.
They went back to Iran?
Yeah, with their own passport.
All right, so they got their Iranian passport and then they went back.
No, they have an Iranian passport already.
They had it already.
The minister then makes an astonishing admission, saying that the program is a failure and those who left were not genuine refugees.
Of the 5 people who came to Cambodia, 3 have left. Is it a failure?
You could say the failure, but at least we relieved them from the camp. But they choose to go back. But they don't want to be in Cambodia. They want to be in Australia, or they want to be a third country like more GDP, that land of promising, like the United States or Europe. That's one that we could read or we could learn from the refugee. They have their own destination, not to get out from the troubles, area, but they get a destination where they're supposed to be there. their choice. I think that Cambodia is safe, but they're not their choice.
The Australian government declined to comment, but sidestepped the issue of the programme's failure in this interview with local television.
I think the policy has been a success, and we've been able to close 13 of 17 detention centres, but at the same time we've been able to increase the number of refugees that we take through the United Nations process. So restoring order to our borders and making sure that we've got strong border security, as we're seeing in Europe, is as important today as it ever has been.
It's a very difficult programme, and if it wasn't difficult, then the largest resettlement agency in the world, the largest agency in the world dealing with migrants, wouldn't be involved. And yeah, it is difficult and it's challenging because Australia said there was going to be tough policies.
With the benefit of hindsight, would you have taken up the Cambodia contract?
Impossible to say, but we are still there. We're not putting out of it. Impossible to say whether or not we would have. I can't say. We got involved knowing what we're getting into, knowing it was going to be difficult. If people have gone home, that's their decision. We're still there. We're still supplying the services that we were asked to supply.
Despite coming here voluntarily, it's clear Cambodia is not where Rashid wants to be. He says most days he does nothing except occasionally see his Rohingya friends. He rarely attends Khmer language classes at the IOM because he says he's had trouble concentrating since his time at Nauru.
Did you try to find a job the way your friends have? Because I not speak Khmer.
But you can learn Khmer.
I can learn Khmer. I cannot speak a lot because I can speak a little. I didn't work.
But there are classes. The IOM gives you language classes. Every new migrant to a country has to learn the language.
Because sometimes I have problem. I have thinking a lot. I don't study here. I don't want to study here.
Rashid has all but given up on a future in Cambodia. With little to do, his anxiety is becoming more pronounced. And the more he hears of his friends' woes, the more he wants to leave.
I'm worried about the future, in case I have to live in Cambodia permanently, as I cannot go anywhere. I'm worried about how to live here. If I have to live here the way other refugees live here, how will I survive? What can I do to have a proper life here? I'm really worried. They are supporting me for 1 year, but a person's life is not only 1 year.
We contacted all 5 of the refugees who came to Cambodia, but Mohammed Rashid is the only one willing to talk. The other Iranian refugee remaining in Cambodia is selling second-hand cars, but a relative says he wants to return to Iran in the next few months. The Burmese Rohingya who returned to Myanmar is now married and works as a director at an international company. The Iranian couple has returned to their Tehran apartment, while Rashid feels he has no future here.
Will you stay in Cambodia? Why not?
I not want. Is this Cambodia refugee? They don't safe here. They're not safe here.
You don't feel like it's safe for you to be here?
Yeah.
I hope that I can be better settled when I reach another place. I will live with freedom as other people do in the world, and will be proud of my new home, my land.
Meanwhile, more than 2,500 refugees and asylum seekers remain on Nauru and Papua New Guinea with no viable future there. The Australian government is trying to find other countries like Cambodia who will accept them. Third country resettlement may be a solution for Australia, but refugees like Rashid remain as far away as ever from finding a new home.